Okay, so this is going to be about pit counts. I think I mentioned this in another video I made and about how it's kind of really stereotypical stuff, and this is why they could never get the real amount of homeless people there are. And also, just another reason why you'll never hear about how many homeless people are underage or the real situations behind homeless people. Because since you can't ask anybody anything, you really just have to look for people that are stereotypical homeless people. So, like, either really dirty, drugged up looking kids, which doesn't even necessarily mean that they're homeless, they could just be in a bad situation, or really drugged up adults who are really broken and kind of like who people call, I don't know, but basically really stereotypical messed up people who've been through a lot, but not the people who aren't doing that bad, aren't on drugs, or basically kind of like me. So it's like, if it wasn't for the fact that a lot of people have seen me a lot, and at one point in time where I was getting kind of dirty, people wouldn't really think that I was homeless because, for one, I already look 12, and two, I don't walk around dirty and I'm not on drugs, and I'm usually not walking around looking mentally messed up, but it depends on the day and what's happening, and then I may be walking around holding back tears. But anywho, then another thing with homeless people underage, of course, those are the people that are going to kind of have to be hiding. Although in some places, like on the West Coast, the police really don't care because street kids is actually a big, well-known thing on the West Coast, and they've had issues with homeless kids running around addicted to drugs, like heroin at 8. They've had issues like that going on for forever, but that's not really that big of a thing on the East Coast. And so, basically, people doing the lay low till 18 thing, or just people who are kicked out all the time or whatever under 18, usually have to do a lot of hiding, because if you don't, you're considered a criminal when you're not in the cash for kids system, being drugged, trafficked, labeled, and abused. And also, if the police or someone doesn't try to turn you in or take you and put you in the cash for kids system, they'll be trying to get you back in whatever bad situation you're trying to leave or got kicked out of. Not to mention all the charges that they want to throw out, even if you are kicked out. And those charges can really mess some stuff up for you. Which I kind of mentioned, or at least I'm pretty sure I mentioned that in the video about how kid victims are charged with child sexual abuse imagery, or quote-unquote CP, but the adult molesters don't get charged, and they're always painted as the victims and stuff, or they're not even spoken on. But anyway, so now, let's get to the point. So, I'm still not going to say where I am due to, like, a lot of stuff with that, but I'll read everything that kind of hops around that. So, homeless pit count, youth count, 2024 training. So, when people say youth, like youth shelter, they don't mean people under 18. They mean people 18 to 24, which I think I mentioned before in another video, or maybe I'm thinking about back when I used to be in support groups. So basically, the most somewhat help you could get, because like I've said throughout the years, there really is no real help, but the most somewhat help you could get is at the ages of 18 to 24. And there's a lot I can say about that. But anyway, contents. The purpose. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot to say. So, I had did this, like, I think it was like a month ago for $20 an hour. I did this pit count. And you do it with a group of people. And you stay with your group and all that. And part of why you stay with your group is so, like, people don't double count people and all that. But anyway, contents. The purpose of the point in time count, which is what pit count stands for, A youth count overview, how to conduct the youth count, safety tips, and next steps. This is really blurry. Okay, so purpose, the Department of Housing. Am I about to get stung by a bee? Okay, wait a minute. The purpose, oh my gosh, wait a minute. Purpose, the Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, which there's a lot I could say about them, requires a point-in-time pit count of every homeless person during the last 10 days of January. Unsheltered counts are conducted every year in the county of blank, while most other counties elect to conduct them once every 2 years. Pit count components. Shelter count conducted the night of January 24th. General street count. General, if that's even visible, it's really not, I don't think. General count conducted the morning of January 25th. Youth count conducted the afternoon of January 25th. Survey conducted in the 2 to 3 weeks following the street count. Youth count. A peer-led accompanied youth and young adults under the age 25. That's when adolescence is. It's kind of really 26. Currently experiencing unsheltered homelessness. Hey. For example, living outdoors in tents, vehicles, abandoned buildings, or similar locations. Me personally, I couldn't really do the abandoned building thing because, like, especially if it's dirty, but also, it's just a lot of stuff with that. I'd be too scared. I think usually people who do that are people who really kind of like, I don't even know what to say. They don't really care about dirty places that much, or the risk, because I would also really worry about going to jail, but also like if the place is haunted or something. But I guess that depends on how abandoned it is and what all happened there. Because like I knew this boy back when I was in Job Corps who was trafficked by his military family, and there was a lot of stuff with that. But anyway, he used to stay in abandoned buildings a lot, and it's a sad situation. But anyway, the youth count is planned and coordinated through youth serving organizations with direct connecting to young people who live with lived experience as well as young people themselves. These partners help to identify locations for teams to conduct the count. Youth count schedule, 2 p.m. 1. Street count maps were distributed via hard copy through email and PDF form or smartphone version to team leader prior to the count. The ESRI Survey 123 data collection app should be downloaded on the smartphone of at least one team member. Team leader accesses app for county and checks in via initial sign-in screen. Team member names and general health status will be reviewed. Their general health status. After team and health and safety review, access observation entry screen on Survey 123 app. 2. Teams go out into the field and canvass/observe route areas. 7 p.m. Well, I think I should have been said 7 p.m. because I think that's for 2 down. But 3. Teams check in once the team has completed their... Oh, no. Okay, so 7 p.m. I guess that starts at 3. Teams check in once the team has completed their route via scheduled time. Soon as map areas are covered by text and status to the number. So I'm not even say all that. And confirming data upload from phone app. 4. Teams must complete all routes they have been assigned. And everybody's count was really, really low too. Because the thing is, when you can't ask questions and you just have to be really stereotypical, you're not going to get a lot of people, and you're definitely not going to get even half of everybody. So I can only imagine how high the number actually is compared to what you get from these little stereotypical pit counts. The role of youth count worker: work with a small of team. Work with a small team of one or two other youth count workers or outreach staff. Help identify young people experiencing homelessness. Youth count workers are paid $20 per hour for their time, including training, paid in cash upon completion of their count shift. Role of outreach staff: escort youth count workers through the assigned count area, ensure the safety of youth count workers, answer questions from youth count workers, assist with data collection as needed, respond to crisis situations. Staff must carry a cell phone and the contact information of their coordinator at all times. I think this is the part where the lady said they haven't really had too many instances throughout the years where something actually did happen, where there was an emergency, somebody had to call the police. But the stereotypical thing was that this is why you don't walk with the people and ask any questions, so they won't get mad and want to fight you. But honestly, I don't know. I really feel like, I get that some people may feel like their privacy is being invaded and somebody's trying to exploit them, but to be truthfully honest, from all these different YouTube channels that run around exploiting abuse escapees that are homeless, that are young, and no, but they're usually young people, and the people not being able to tell that they're being exploited and taking the risk of even allowing somebody who walks up to them recording and taking the risk to talk to them. It's like, I don't know. I don't really think a lot of these people can tell when they're being exploited. I'm not gonna lie. And that's why I kind of feel like people might as well ask questions, especially for stuff like this, because it could get more accurate counts. But anyway, conducting the youth count. Teams will be expected to cover all accessible streets, parks, alleyways, parking lots, and other outdoor locations within their assigned area. If you were unable to count certain area due to safety concerns or access issues, do not enter the area. Simply mark it on your map and let us know upon your return. Do not leave your assigned area. Stay with the boundaries drawn on your map to avoid entering another's team area. I forgot to say, the thing with the present in time count is that if you know somebody who's homeless, or a lot of people are area where a lot of people who are homeless stay, but they're not there at that time, then you don't count them. So that's another thing that makes this even less accurate, because you're only counting who you see standing on the street right then. So, yeah. Where was our last step? Do not leave your assigned area. Stay with the boundaries drawn on your map to avoid entering another team's area. Using their expertise and judgment, teams will conduct a visual count of young people experiencing unsheltered homelessness and record their observations on an at-base tally sheet. Okay, so that's using their expectations and judgment. So that basically means you gotta get stereotypical, which also, like I already said, leaves a lot of people out who don't look like the stereotypical homeless people, which means that, unless maybe I was sitting somewhere looking sad, I would have been left out if I wouldn't have been doing the count myself and counting myself, because you're supposed to count yourself too. Okay, so who to count? Young people under the age of 25 who are currently experiencing unsheltered homelessness, either as individuals unaccompanied or with children of their own. This includes young people residing in a place that is not ordinarily used for sleeping, such as streets, parks, tents, abandoned buildings, vehicles, buses, or train stations. I doubt that anybody's going to a train station. But Smartphone observation at part 1 of 3. That's kind of irrelevant a little bit. And then this is the second thing. This is really blurry. One individual looks to be in their early 20s on the street. That bitch just, dang, wait a minute. Shows how to use that. Or something like that. This is for this. This is not really working. And so, safety part 1 of 2. Be safe and do not take any risk, health, or safety. Do not approach individuals and ask them if they are homeless. Observe and document via your smartphone app only. Do not take any photos while in the field. All information and location should be kept confidential, not discussed after the count. Stay with your teammates. Be respectful. Be respectful of those you're counting. Please refrain from trying to provide outreach or referral services. Call or text your coordinator if you have any problems or questions. Safety part 2 of 2. That's not visible, but do not enter abandoned buildings or other hard to access areas unless the team is familiar with those locations. Do not advertise your count location and keep information confidential. Post count day. No social media posting. Avoid conversations with the observed and respect their privacy. We can't do outreach work during the count. As always, call 911 if you have a true emergency. If you are in a car, keep windows open for ventilation and sit a row apart if possible. Wear a mask and use sanitizer frequently. Well, that sounds kind of stereotypical, but I don't really know what that really is supposed to mean. But next steps, you will be updated via email with any new information about the youth count. Please contact the 2024 Homeless Pit Count Hotline if you have any questions. And here's the hotline. And that's pretty much it. But yeah, so it's pretty stereotypical, and it leaves a lot of people out.